Hello everyone, and welcome back to Dragalia Foundry, a fan channel where everything Dragalia Lost can be found. This video is going to be all about the advent of the Origin raid event that's happening right now in Dragalia Lost. This is our 3.5 year anniversary raid event, and there's still about a week or so left if you want to check it out for yourself. It's very possible that this is going to be the last ever new special event we get in Dragalia Lost because, of course, we know the end of service is on the horizon, with the end of July being the slated time for the climactic conclusion of the main campaign. This event has a lot of things that have happened in the main campaign and some side events within it, so if you haven't played through about chapter 24 or so of the main campaign, or you've missed out on the Faith Forsaken event that's in the event compendium, you may want to be careful for spoilers in this event and in this video, since I will be talking about everything that took place. With these event overview videos, I always like to give my thoughts and impressions on the story of the event while showing off some of the gameplay. So from the gameplay side of things, I'm going to be playing through my first ever clear of the Omega Solo at level 3, as well as the Omega Raid at level 3. Have my team here of Yuden, Pietro, Eleonora, and of course Kimono Not as my healer. So feeling pretty good about this team. It's a fun one to send off with this last event if it ends up being our final new event in the game. There is still a chance, because we were told with the end of service announcement that there would be the last banner with new characters at the end of March, and then we would have select quests and campaign updates. And now it sounds like some of those select quests are definitely basically the Primal Dragon Trials and Legend Surtur that we know are coming, but I guess there is still a chance that maybe when we really hit that end of the road that there could be another event, or perhaps around the 4th anniversary, something like that, but I think it's pretty unlikely at this point. I think that this is pretty much our last event in the game. And as far as the story of this one, well, basically the premise is that we're trying to gather together as many Auspexes as we can in our ongoing quest to subdue the progenitor, Xenos, and one of those Auspexes is Origa, who has been in a state of slumber at the Halidom, still not fully rested from the control of Satan. She ended up being possessed by him in a previous event, and so, yeah, we have to try to basically get her out of that dormant state and rescue her from that control. We set about trying to do so by using fairy magic to enter her mind and battle Satan from within. But in the process, ultimately, Satan is freed, and Zethia, who had been having nightmares all the while about a powerful force, Satan is freed but used as a vessel for the resurrection of the Origin, also known as Bahamut, basically the counterpart to Xenos, whereas Xenos wants a world with a fixed outcome, a fixed reality, devoid of possibility. Bahamut, the Origin, is the opposite and wants a world, to some extent, of total possibility, especially in Bahamut's true form. Whereas the Black Dragon Bahamut we had seen so far was just a part of the Origin's full power, the White Bahamut that we're battling here in the raid is even stronger and will go to extreme lengths to ensure that the progenitor does not succeed in creating a fixed reality, to the point that once Bahamut is resurrected and once Bahamut defeats Zethia, who tries to stop him, the world enters a state of flux, and basically nothing is fixed as far as reality goes, because everything is subject to the possibility that Bahamut instills it with. So when Zethia is defeated, she's erased from existence. The memory of her is totally gone. It's not just defeat, but complete oblivion to our party, which is certainly a really sad moment. It fits with some of the stories that we've had in the past and that are coming up as well, but it brings to mind Nadine and Linnea's united front with its focus on memories, because basically it's though the rest of the cast doesn't remember that Zethia existed at all. And so we spend this time in this void where the way the game represents it is by constantly changing the background. It's something that's kind of hard to convey in the storytelling medium that Dragalia Lost uses, and I think would probably be a lot easier to show in like an anime or a more visual format, but essentially we go through all these different biomes in space. The world is constantly in a state of flux because of Bahamut's influence. However, we come to find out that Yuden is sort of able to overcome it, and Yuden is also able to unlock a power with himself, which we don't fully know what it is, but Midgard-Sormr, who he's reunited with, speculates is a power that is due to the bonds he's forged with others. And as the story progresses, we learn more and more, it becomes more clear that indeed that is the power that he's accessing, and basically it's those bonds and memories of others that allows everybody to be tethered together and kind of affirm one another's existence in the world. It's sort of a strange concept, like the idea of his memories of Zethia being what's able to ensure that she can't be erased from the world. But I kind of like it. You know, it fits with this very shonen theme of Dragalia Lost. Reminds me of some famous lines, right? Like, believe in the me that believes in you. It also reminds me a lot of course, Naruto, the infinite Tsukuyomi, the idea that we don't necessarily want a perfect order, a controlled order of things. At the same time, obviously, the destruction and constant flux of the world is also unacceptable. So both of these extremes, true Bahamut and the progenitor, or Xenos, are not what we want for our party. And so it's interesting to see how quickly they reject possibility. I think that it's philosophically a little bit hard to track at times, like this idea of free will in the game, but you know, with the shonen theme that the game has, of course, the protagonist's ability to self-determine what happens is going to be, central to what they want to do. So I liked it. It actually felt cleaner to me than some of the other explanations we've gotten where we're dealing with fixed possibility. From a gameplay standpoint, I also like the raid. I mean, I think, especially in co-op, it's cool to have these different orbs, have different elemental attunements, which makes it so you want a diverse cast of party members to take them on. And you saw in the solo variant, and you'll see here too in the raid, we kind of messed it up in the solo variant, but there's also these fields that cause affliction, so you want a variety of affliction resistances. Now, it's a little bit on the simpler side. It is kind of like the Chronos raid that we've had in the past, just with the half-stage boss. But I don't know if that should take away from it, because that Chronos raid still was really cool, just the change in perspective the first time that we got that in Dragalia Lost. So I want to appreciate the content for what it is. It was definitely on the easier side, though, to take on the boss. Ultimately, the story is left a little unresolved because there's still an epilogue forthcoming that I want to check out, but it definitely ties into the main campaign. It's basically gathering the Auspexes so that we can ultimately take on Xenos, and in the process also rejecting the rigid, or perhaps a better word is erratic, view that Bahamut has of this world too. And so ultimately, we're able to even bring back Zethia. She's returned from her state of oblivion. When Yuden is going to be erased from the world, he clings on to his memories of her, and she comes back into existence and kind of saves her. Not remembers everybody. I'm glad Not got some screen time in this one, because she is the true, third hero of the game, really, with her childhood connection to both Yuden and Zethia, so I appreciated her having those moments. And also, there's some tender moments just in the Halidom, Yuden having returned from Lefkos, dealing with the day-to-day problems and goings and happenings of the Halidom, and Zethia kind of seeing how he's changed and grown up, and thinking about what she wants to be able to do too, and the connections that she started to forge as well. So all in all, if it is the send-off, I think it was a pretty good one. Of course, I'd love more Dragalia Lost events and content, but I don't think that there's necessarily a realistic chance that that's going to happen. I think this will be our last raid event. It would be cool if Bahamut in some form is made available on a permanent basis, so especially with this event being so much a part of what's happening in the main campaign, this would be a nice one to have added to the event compendium relatively soon here. I think there are still certainly some questions just about what's happening with Yuden. Why does he have all these special powers? The Bond's power in particular. But it felt like a fitting alt that he got and that Zethia got to take us toward the conclusion of the game. So ultimately, I really liked it. There are also some goodies with this event, including our free character, Orga, and some worm prints that I want to check out. We'll take a look at the rewards next, but I think that's pretty much all I have to say on this story. I feel like, we're clearly coming to the conclusion at this point. Everything is tying in together. I appreciated that this wasn't just a random raid event, but felt very intentional about doing that as well. So let's take a look here at our page. You can see the different chapters of the story. That Satan boss fight with fixed stats, took me a while to take on. You can see you get event perks if you use Orga, and like usual, you can unlock your raid boosts. We'll check out the emblems really quick because there is a nice little omnisite somewhere here in these emblems. Let's see if we can't find it. There it is. And with Valerio just getting a spiral, you still can put that to pretty good use on characters. Maybe we'll get another spiral next month, maybe not, who knows. He could well be the last one in the game. There we got our rewards for completing Omega 3, and a little bit of Wormite associated with that. And I think now let's go ahead and take a look at Orga, and then we'll look at some of the worm prints. So the coolest thing about Orga, in my opinion, is going to be her Ko ability. She actually has the standard attack damage Ko ability, which is something that in the past has not been that easy to get. In the water element, Tiki has it too. Her skills are different when she's in Dragon Drive, so this first one does damage and inflicts frostbite. In Dragon Drive, you also get Bog and Freeze. Haven't tried to freeze her yet, but I know Primal Brunhilde can be bogged. And then the second one removes Demon Seal and removes Lock Sigil from teammates, so it can enhance your teammates that are apostles. And of course, you have some other effects here too. Once you're in your Dragon Drive, it'll deal damage. But that Demon Seal is basically like a sigil release on Orga herself. There's that standard attack damage that I mentioned. So her abilities, the Demon Within. Once she releases her seal, she gets 100% affliction resistance, which is kind of cool. Then she has Afflicted Punisher too, so she's going to do more damage to afflicted enemies, which I think is kind of a nice nod to Regina as her sister. And when she's in Dragon Drive, her stats get enhanced. She starts off quests with the Demon Seal for 300 seconds, and during that you can't activate Dragon Drive, and your gauge won't fill. When it wears off, you'll be granted Seal Released instead, and your Dragon Drive gauge will automatically fill. Yep, I think that's pretty much it. And if you're in a Phase 2 fight, she will become transformed. Because she automatically uses her Dragon Drive, I think she's a pretty decent backline AI, but Tiki, if you have her, will also automatically go into her Divine Dragon, so she's also quite strong with that same Ko ability. And probably a better chain Ko ability with Dragon Haste. And speaking of Dragon's Haste, these 5 worm prints, one for each element, were also released with this event, and these are just beautiful pieces of artwork with various characters interacting with the Great Worm, so I love to see these. I hope we get more good artwork. No real word on worm prints, but if there are more of them before the game comes to an end, I would welcome it, if only to just have more amazing artwork of the game. That one with the Aurelius to Yuden swap with Zodiark was really powerful, and this one too, with Mim, that scene where all the dragons are just towering is cool. I love this one. This kind of just feels like a Pokemon vibe, like you're chilling on Lapras, you're surfing, and then Not with the frog is so fun. Not is really the best character in Dragalia Lost, isn't she? Okay, so finally, the Wind's Guidance here with Midgard Stormer and Yuden feels suitably epic. And when it transforms, you get this beautiful portrait too, with Yuden and Midgard Stormer just hovering over in the background. Hand in hand here is the other worm print that's come out, but it's going to get renamed because another worm print already has this name. But this one has Org and Zethia, and not to be missed, their siblings, Yuden and Regina, in the background. I think those are all the worm prints that were tied to this event, so that is pretty much going to do it. That's all I wanted to say on Advent of the Origin. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Take care, and I'll see you next time.